Good morning. This is Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. First, we're going to take a look at our word of the day. Our word of the day is cloister. Cloister is our word of the day. I'm just looking for the screen here. This is it right here. Cloister, to seclude or shut up as if you were in a monastery. That is our word of the day. And we're going to take a look at our news of the day. First, we're going to take a look at what Bitcoin is up to. So we're going to share our screen. Bitcoin seems to keeping on the trend. The trend is moving up. Let's take a look at it right here. And Bitcoin is at 107,408 right now. So we got into MicroStrategy when it was 102. So let us now go over to our charts. Here's the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is trending up. It's getting close to the 20,000 mark. Some people think it may come up to here and then pull back. How far it pulls back, that is a question. So we'll just keep our eyes on that. Here's MicroStrategy. Trending up slightly, up 1.77% today. We've been comparing that to the S&P 500. See if I can bring that up. There we go. S&P is up 1.6, so it's kind of leading MicroStrategy. Well, competing with it at least, as MicroStrategy is at 1.86 now. Looking at our chart yesterday, MicroStrategy was almost a 3-to-1 ratio versus the NASDAQ index and the S&P. But let us go now to our news of the day. GameStop is back in the news. News item has disappeared. I'm going to pause everything and be right back with you. Well, we're back. GameStop issues 2.25 convertible senior notes due in 2032 with initial purchaser exercise option for additional $450 million in notes. And on that news, GameStop is up slightly. Kraft Heinz was upgraded to neutral from sell at Goldman Sachs. It is still down 1.23% today. QuantumScape's shares jumped 30%. Holy cow, overnight. After saying it achieves major milestone, Cobra separator process enters baseline production. So QuantumScape, this is the lithium metal batteries, not to be confused with quantum computing. Stellantis was upgraded to buy from hold at Jefferies and raised target to 1320, saying data suggests the company's earnings slide is about to turn positive. So it is up 2.4% today. Tesla, new car sales in Europe fell 27.9% in May from a year earlier, even as fully electric vehicle sales in the region jumped 27.2%. Overall, car sales in Europe rose 1.9%, with the strongest growth coming from plug-in hybrids and cars powered by alternative fuels. Torrid Holdings gaps down massively, down 37%. Announced the launch of an underwritten public offering of 10 million shares of common stock to be sold by certain shareholders. Walmart is testing dark stores, which resemble retail stores but are closed to the public, as a way to speed up deliveries, per Bloomberg. On to energy, industrials, and materials. We heard about FedEx in the news yesterday. They're back in the news. Q4 adjusted EPS $6.07 versus estimate of $5.81. They still sold off down to the 50-day moving average here. They guide Q1 revenues 0 to 2% versus estimate of negative 0.07%. And EPS $3.40 to $4 versus estimate of $4.06. So I guess that's possibly why they're sliding. AeroVironment, Q4 adjusted EPS $1.61 versus $1.39, and they gap up strongly on that. Shares are up 22% today. And moving on to ASTS, to sell 9.45 million shares at 53.22 in registered direct offering, and they're selling off on that one. Can see the institutional ants here. We're buying. Generally, there's a turn coming on when you see this many institutional ants hosted on the chart, and sure enough, that's what's happened. Moving on. Next Tracker announced that its NX Horizon solar trackers will empower one of Europe's largest solar projects, 550 MW Orechio PPC Potomeda Solar PV Park in Western Macedonia. So there you have that, and it is holding up here, working on a base, up 0.37% today. NewScale Power. See if we can get NewScale Power to come out. Was downgraded to neutral from buy at BTIG, noting the shares have more than doubled since Q1 earnings in mid-May. And they're off slightly, I guess more than slightly, they're down 8.12% today. QXO, 89.88 million share spot secondary, priced at $22.25, and they're off nearly 6%. We'll adjust our news stories. Quite a few of them today. Rocket Lab. The news stories have hit the wrong key. Sorry about that, folks. Rocket Lab executes responsive schedule of an Electron manifest to launch next mission in 2 days' time. Rocket Lab is pulling back a little bit on that news, 3.35%. Worthington Industries, Q4 adjusted EPS $1.06 versus 84 on sales of 317.9 million versus estimate of 301.44 million. It rocketed it up earlier and then pulled back into the base. So we'll have to wait and see where that goes. That's up 2.24%. Healthcare. Cidara Therapeutics, 7.95 share secondary priced at $44. They're actually up on that news, which is surprising. Usually people don't like to be diluted. It is up now it's up 4.57% on the day. Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk, early 2/3 of US patents taking Wegovy or Zepbound stayed on the drug in the past year. New data show only 1 in 7 Wegovy patients stayed on a weight loss drug over 3 years, data show. Eli Lilly is up slightly at 1.85, and Novo Nordisk is down slightly at off 5% today. Inspire MD announces FDA approval for CGuard Prime carotid stent system for prevention of stroke. FDA approval triggers second warrant tranche in $113.6 million financing. Initially sold off, trying to fight back here, still off 9.29%. Novartis announced that a previously announced tender offer by Ridgewood Merger Sub, a Delaware corporation and indirect wholly owned subsidiary of Novartis, to acquire all of the outstanding share of common stock of Regulus Therapeutics, RGLS. So Novartis is off slightly on that news in exchange for $7 in cash per share. And Regulus is holding steady, not much of a move there. On to Sarepta. Since the approval of Sarepta's Elevidys, the FDA has received 2 reports of fatal acute liver failure following treatment or non-ambulatory pediatric male patients with Duchenne muscular dystrophy, DMD, the agency said in a statement. And Sarepta is off 10% on that news. On to technology, media, and telecom. BlackBerry, still a going concern. Q1 adjusted EPS 2 cents versus 0 cent estimate. Revenue is 121 million versus estimate of 112.188 million. And guides Q2 EPS 0 to 1 cent versus estimate of 1 cent. And BlackBerry is actually up on that news, up 14.8%. BlackBerry provides a security software and services company in securing enterprise of things. On to Omnicom. Omnicom and Interpublic IPG, both downgraded to equal weight from overweight at Barclays. Omnicom is down 2.7%. Interpublic is down 2.63%. And WPP Group downgraded to underweight, saying the firm came away from the Cannes Ad Festival last week more bearish than before in advertising agencies, and it's down 3.3%. On to Outfront Media, announces restructuring and reduction in force plan, said plan to reduce workforce by about 120 employees, estimates of 18.6 million in restructuring charges. It is off 2.1% today. And finally, on to SI Time Corporation files 350 million follow-up on public offering, and SiTime is down quite a bit. So that is our story. We're going to pause for a second. So we're back here with a little look at the heat index. Microsoft is up slightly. Oracle is doing pretty well today. Palantir continues to rise. NVIDIA is up. NVIDIA and the rest of the semiconductors are bouncing here. Google and Meta continue to move up. Tesla is off 2%. Amazon is up, and all the oil, real estate. This is the decline index, I guess you would call it. So that is the story. Interesting, mobile continues to kind of perform well under oil moving down. So that is our heat index. We're going to go back to our charts and look at where the big money is flowing today. So TTMI, this is extended past the profit zone here. We had a breakout right around 30.20, and it has really taken off. You can see all the blue volume here. That, as William O'Neill said, isn't your Aunt Edna. Futu, Chinese financial company, is up big, gap up out of the buy zone. Ambarella had a big move yesterday, and it's following up today, up another 1.85%. Recent IPO, Astera Labs is up 2.23%, had big buying volume yesterday and is following up today. Celestica, Canadian contract manufacturer of electronic products, up 4.82%. Looks like it's definitely breaking out of this cup pattern. NVDA just moved into the pivot zone here. May add a little bit more into NVIDIA today on this news. We'll just see if it does this sort of action once it gets into the pivot. Wilden Group is up 1.47%. And finally, Reddit trying to bounce back. It had a strong move earlier and then it's pulling back. And what are we doing? So we have bought over here into Palantir. Palantir moved up and then sold off a little bit here today as it got near the profit zone. We looked at NVIDIA, which we're in. GEV. Got into this over here. Tried to move higher today and it's pulling back a little bit. App looks like it's lopsided cup with a handle here. Gapped up yesterday, now it's pulling back today. Meta had I believe Citibank gave them a price target of 810. One of the other research analysts gave it a price of 795, and we'll just see if it gets there. but this is, we have through METU, that's what we're investing in Meta through, the 2 times bull. Got into this one around 8. We continue to hold, we're getting computing. Got up here as high as 21.42. We initially bought it at 2.50. Got up here at 21.42, kind of sold it around 15, and then got back in at 8. So we're holding on to this the long term. And MicroStrategy is our other big holding. And it's up 1.86%. So that's Mornings with Michael today. Hope everybody has a great day. Feel free to have any comments on our show, and we look forward to seeing you later. In the meantime, everybody go out there, have a positive day, and thanks for joining us.